You've crossed into the veil. This is Veilwyn K. Tonight's story is written by dlschindler. Call me whatever you want. Just don't call me. If you've never gone on a date with a serial killer, gotten modus operandi, and now are about to tell about it, allow me to show you how I feel about it. I already showed the man who called himself Jesus how I felt about our date. When I was still Emma, there was just a lot of hope and a lot of disappointment. All she wanted was love. She told bad jokes sometimes, only to be funny. I loved teasing, flirting. That part was fun. There was this whole quest for love I was on, and I had a policy. If someone asked me out, I'd say yes. Because I hated the thought of some hidden soulmate working up the courage to invite me to dinner, just to get shut down because I wasn't feeling chemistry. That wasn't how Emma rolled. But let me say this. Going on a lot of dates didn't mean I was naughty. I was actually the kind of girl who made her mama proud. Very self-respecting. I just like going out. That's all. I probably would have kept going forever until I met Mr. Right. And I did meet someone, but he took me on a date from hell. So now I'm back to tell you how I survived death. Every person I've ever dated had one thing in common. They all tried to impress me, and they laughed with me. Jesus? He just presumed I was already impressed. And beyond that, he was just going through the motions. His laughter wasn't nervous. It was calculated, predatory, precise, rehearsed. More about masking his intentions than enjoying my company. The last thing I remember is that over dinner, he asked a lot of weird, specific questions. Where was I parked? How long until I had to be home before someone noticed? I wasn't laughing anymore. I couldn't imagine who he really was, but I knew something was wrong. I don't remember what he did to me, but by morning, I had died. Sunlight poured in through barred windows high up on the walls. I was in a concrete basement, several rooms, a dungeon. I was opening my eyes, coming back to life. There were tubes of turquoise liquids attached to my veins, candles twisted in red and white, like barber poles. And my killer stood up over me, reading from a book. He later told me it was called Exodus. At first, I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. My heart wasn't beating. Then my whole body convulsed as I felt the agony of everything restarting. Blinking hurt my eyes. I just felt like my heart was hammering its way out. Even the sound of his voice hurt. The sluggish stuff was pumping through my veins, forcing its way into my arteries. My legs kicked, my muscles knotted, my arms strained to move, but they felt hollow and heavy. My back arched, my spine cracked, one vertebrae at a time, until my whole body collapsed, trembling. Then I gasped, and when my burning lungs were full, I screamed, because flashes of the night before came crashing back. While I was choking and sobbing, he looked down at me and said, "Welcome back to the land of the living." I hated that, because it was a quote from a Bruce Campbell movie I liked. It wasn't enough to kill me and bring me back. Apparently, he had to ruin that for me too. You. That was all I could manage. Emma's quickness was gone. I felt slow, sluggish, wrong. I am indeed Jesus, he told me. And you are half alive. What I call a half-life. It's a fun little name for creatures that died and came back as my creations. I am God to you and the others. No, God. My eyes twitched. I couldn't control my face. I was drooling. Devil. Sure. And you're just another bitch. That stung. Somehow, amid all the real pain, that stung. Because I was not a bitch. Not in any sense. You don't agree? Well, you are mine now. My creation. The one I gave life to. You are whatever I say you are. I refused. I refused to be whatever he said I was. I held on to myself. Even when I started forgetting what I'd been before, I still felt it. And that feeling, that was what I clung to. He put me in a cell with some other half-lives. They milled around, moaning, beginning to rot where they stood. Was gonna end up like them? You won't stay fresh long. Eventually, I'll have to do this again. Unless you last longer. It takes a while for you to stop talking, accept it. And when you do, you'll spoil. So keep that girlish charm. It's what I like about you. He grinned. And somehow, that was the first time I had seen him smile. Not on our date, not while he killed me, but while telling me how to be a good little half-life for him. He locked me in a cell with bars, hung the keys by the stairs, and left me down here. I heard him get into his car. He drove away across the gravel above the basement we were in. He had told me to stay positive so I wouldn't rot, but I think I had always been a positive person. I couldn't help it. The others stared vacantly at me. I stared back. Then I tried making friends with them. I offered pathetic little platitudes. Hope, comfort, anything. But I kept saying the same things over and over. Nicely. Because it was hard to think of anything at all in that situation. So I just made soothing noises. And slowly, they stopped shuffling. They got closer. Attracted to my voice. I was down there for days. Jesus visited every night in the early hours and left at the first daylight. Then one morning, I escaped. I'd taken his second set of keys to the cell. He hadn't noticed. I unlocked the door. Before I left, I locked the others back up. I wasn't sure if they should be let out or not, but they seemed fine in there, contained. So I decided it was probably for the best. I planned to go to the authorities for help. When I started walking along that rural stretch of road, I felt like I could walk forever. Being half dead meant I didn't feel real exhaustion. I did feel hungry though, but not for real food. I wanted carrion, or maybe to eat someone. The thought of those cravings disgusted whatever was left of my humanity. So I just went hungry. When I got to the police station in town, I saw him. It wasn't a police station. It was a sheriff's office. And Jesus was the sheriff, an elected official in charge of the law. I turned around and walked right back out. If I reported him to himself, I wasn't going to survive very long, and nothing was going to happen to him. He hadn't seen me, but that didn't mean I was safe, so I kept going till I reached the city, until I made it home. In my apartment, I looked at myself, and I saw how horrible I looked. I was definitely half dead, but I wasn't rotting, not even a little bit. Staying positive as a half-life had kept me fresh, alright. I just needed some of Emma, and I'd be dancing in no time. I tried on all her clothes, checked her messages, ate freezer-burned ice cream, and the whole time, I felt like an intruder in my own home. There was no world where I felt safe going to the authorities. After seeing he was our sheriff, that was over. I wouldn't be able to prove anything. It would be my word against his, and my whole life had fallen apart in my absence. By appearances alone, I looked terrible. Dark eyes, haunted expression, slow muttering voice. He had a clean shave, a badge, a smile people trusted. I knew exactly who they'd believe. So instead, I decided to rebuild, to reclaim myself. Every day that passed, I felt a little more alive. I got a new job as a parking lot attendant, managed to pay my rent. I could smile a little, make eye contact briefly. I was learning how to live again. And that's why it isn't fair that he came after me. He must have known I wasn't a threat to him, because if he had been scared I could get him in trouble, he would have just assassinated me. But no, instead, he drove past me and made sure I saw him. Flowers started appearing on my doorstep from an anonymous admirer, and I knew it was him. He was playing with me, stalking me, trying to strip away the life I was rebuilding. I couldn't have peace, no sanctuary. I was always looking over my shoulder, always flinching when my phone chimed, wondering if it was him. And as I slowly gave into that fear, I started feeling sick. The liveliness I got from forcing myself to stay positive, it was fading. By the time he arrived, I couldn't keep up the act anymore. I was in my bathroom, looking into the mirror. I regretted cracking. Back when I had one of those moments where I couldn't stand my new depleted image. I was pleading with myself to do something. Hearing Emma, the version of me I could barely hold on to, asking the monster I'd become to save her. Then he knocked, and with one hard kick, he opened the door. The monster was ready, because I had already made up my mind. I was going to protect whatever was left of me. He strode toward me to grab me, to take me away, and there was a strange look on his face, like he thought he was catching me at my weakest moment. Emma was hiding. She couldn't fight back. But I am something else now, and I had to protect her, who she was, who she still could have been, if this man stopped being a threat. I surprised him. I surprised myself, with my speed, with my strength. Surely I was more than just a half-life, because I lifted him off his feet, both hands around his throat. You're just... He was choking, still wearing that weird smirk, still not fully realizing I had him. Just a zombie bitch. He slurred the words together as he said them, and then I realized he had lost consciousness, so I dropped him. I could never kill anyone, not even him. Not even when it would have been easy to hold on for another second. He was alive, so I hefted him up, this scrawny thing carrying a huge man. And when people on the sidewalk stared, I just said, "I know, right?" and laughed, because I knew it was already over. I found his spare handcuffs in the glove compartment in his car, put them on him, back seat, then drove him home, or at least to the place where his dungeon was. He had a real home too, a wife, kids, people who knew nothing about the other place. I never bothered them. It's probably better if they never know what he was, or what happened to him. I took him downstairs and put him in the cell with the half-lives. They stared at him as he slowly came to. "I have a headache," he complained. I helped him drink water from the sink down there, but I didn't take out the handcuffs. "Let me out. I'm going to keep you here. I'll feed you. I'll take care of you. You'll be my prisoner. But I can't let you go. I can't. And hearing it, I realized my voice sounded more like me than it had in a long time. You cannot do that. I am God down here. What happened next was beyond my control. I hadn't expected the half-lives to do anything to him. And maybe they wouldn't have. Maybe they would have just stared. But he set him off, yelling, thrashing, ordered them to attack. It was a general command, violent verbs spilling out of him like instinct. And when they surged forward, I reflexively slammed the cell door shut. It locked automatically. Wait! They hesitated. For a second. They remembered my voice. But I wasn't one of them anymore. He was still their master. So they obeyed him. And they did everything he had told them to do. I refused to watch. I ran back up the stairs. I could hear him screaming. I told myself, he brought this on himself. And even Emma, sweet, hopeful Emma, would probably agree it was at least a little funny. In a poetic justice kind of way. I wasn't laughing. But I was finally able to let it go.